Take lots of pictures.
Oh, I will. Yes. No, maybe I should be here. I'm just saying where they go.
That's weird. You know, how are you? I thought maybe you did want to say.
Yeah.
No. Flu season or whatever's happening. Yes.
In my video.
65, so I turned it down.
Oh.
Just a little bit.
Oh, okay. Renee found all those changes. The PDFs and all.
All that I can find. It's just sick of complexion, I think. I'm very moisturized, slacked in all the.
I did blueberry, yeah.
You get it stained.
Yeah. When I get to it, I can, yeah, it's been back in day for ZBA.
It can take a week. Okay.
I might ask you to, I'll do the minutes, but I might ask you to stick around, because if they wanna clean up the.
No?
I'm gonna see that.
Friends could be a lot.
I think basically.
Good, all right. I'm gonna.
That's how long it's been since I've seen you.
How long?
Since I got married.
That's a good thing though, right?
At least you have the cherry pie on your face, right?
Did that stain?
Not cherry, no.
Could be just like plush.
Right on. Blueberry, I think it's the same. Yeah.
That's
Probably. Did you eat a check? Yeah, crush. You did it, right? I did crush. Like what? Wow.
When you get sick?
And you had to stick your face.
Yeah.
Do you have the committee of the whole agenda or no? I think you're having.
Everybody.
Strongest, yeah. Yeah, well.
Part of your job is to show people putting all our bottom.
Yes, we're gonna be. I realize my role when I am for
That's
for
right.
John morning rain party. When we were getting ready for that point, retirement party, I had to tie all the.
Yes, none of us could do it, I guess.
I love that picture of you and me.
I know, isn't it the best picture? Yeah.
Great, 11:03, I'm gonna call this, special meeting, the committee of the whole meeting of Sagatuck Township to order on Tuesday, September 9, 2025. I will, note that all trustees are present, and, if you will, please join me for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Someone like, I trust that everybody has had a chance to review today's agenda. Would someone like to, move to approve the agenda?
I have a question on the agenda, not so much for today, but for tomorrow night. Will we want to move the public hearing on the PUD further up? What we've done before, so people that come. You don't have to sit.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so. Thoughts?
Yes, good idea.
Morning.
The only challenge I see is that like appointments too, people are coming specifically for those. And like the PUD could take a while, so would you want everyone who's coming to be reappointed to sit through the PUD public hearing?
And those are just potentially just reappointment. No.
So
That's the only
and
thing.
as there's nothing before that.
There's the only thing
That's
before that,
yeah.
there's some presentations before then, but that's the only, yeah.
All right, I mean, I guess it's okay, because
I think that'll go so quickly.
I think it will go quickly, because there's only. They're all uncontested, there's not
Right.
multiple applicants for it.
okay, thank you.
Someone like to approve today's agenda.
I'll move to approve today's agenda as presented.
All support? We have a motion and support. Further comment? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. That brings us to public comment. And we have a large audience today, which we like, so let me just remind the audience that if you're speaking on behalf of yourself, it's a 3-minute time limit. If you're speaking on behalf of a group, it's 5 minutes, and this is a chance for you to be considered and heard by the board. It's not a question answer session. Is there anybody in the first row that would like to speak? Right, the row behind them. No. And the back row? Oh, okay, well, we will have a chance to do it. Yes, we will. I didn't know if we did the public comment at the committee of the whole at the end again, but we do. So if you have things that you want to talk about that come up during the meeting, you will have another chance to be heard during public comment. At the end. Okay, that brings us to the fire board bond presentation. And who will be kicking off this discussion for us? Yeah.
Well, we have the fire district here, I believe, we have quite a bit of representation from not only the fire board, but we see some staff members. And Chief Janik in the audience, and I believe that we have representation from the fire district's financial advisor, Vidinsky and Company. If you all are ready to come up and present to us on a possibility of the township supporting a bond initiative on behalf of the fire district, but you all are welcome to come up.
Thank you, good morning. My name is Steve Mann, I'm a bond attorney with Miller Canfield, actually. We've been asked to present to you regarding the fire district's proposed bond. I'll start by saying the reason we're here asking the township for support is that the way the fire district is organized under Act 33, it doesn't provide a reasonable method for them to bond on their own. So in many cases, and we've done many bond issues like this for fire departments, they'll look to the largest municipal member or the member that uses their services the most and ask them to issue the bond on their behalf. And then the fire district, after the bond is issued, well, before the bond's issued, there'll be an agreement between the parties where the fire district agrees to pay all the costs, all the administrative costs, the cost of issuing the bond, and debt service each year on the bond issue.
I'm Bobby Benzinski from Benzinski and Company. With me, I have Brittany Brower from our firm and Stephen Haydock from our firm. So the fire district has asked us to discuss the various financing alternatives, and Steve has prepared a procedure outline for the township to issue what is known in Michigan as capital improvement bonds. These are bonds that are issued without a vote. They pledge the township's full faith and credit. They are issued after a 45-day right of referendum has been published in the paper of general circulation, and nobody has brought a petition to stop the project.
Mr. Vidinsky, and I just take a step back, just so everyone is on the same page, what we're talking about is a potential bond to finance the construction of a new fire station located in the south of the township, so south of the Kalamazoo River, which I know has come up in conversation between us and the fire district before about the great benefit it would provide to have emergency services located on the south side of the river and the north side of the river. So that's just kind of the context we're talking about. The financing necessary in order to complete the construction of a fire station located on the south side of the Kalamazoo River. Sorry, Mr. Vidinsky.
No, that's fine. You don't have to call me Mr. Benzinski. So, as I indicated, or Steve has indicated that the township issuing bonds on behalf of the fire station is the most prudent and the most financially acceptable method. If not, each of the townships or each of the municipalities in the district would have to issue a set of bonds, which would be costly. You'd be paying not necessarily 3 times the fees, but you would be paying professionals 3 times. And it would be probably at least double what you would be paying. And, so it's not beneficial at that point. Then there's the bookkeeping of the 3 bond issues, 3 different agreements, all of that. So we have come to them. The fire authority has asked us to present 3 different scenarios to you, and I see that is on in front of Daniel's desk. You all have it. And the authority has recommended or discussed using a bond issue of not to exceed 4 million at this point. And we provided them with the scenarios to issue debt at 10 years, 15 years, and 20 years. And you can see in the yellow column on the bottom, the average annual debt service for each scenario. We would not come back to this board without construction bids in hand to issue the bonds, so we would know what the project cost is. And if you wanted to proceed with the project, the next step would be for this board, your board, to adopt the notice of intent and publish it in a newspaper. Then we would recommend that the authority get construction bids before we come back with a bond authorizing resolution, which would detail all of the bonds. Details is the maximum amount, the duration, the maximum interest rate that could be on the bonds. And then we would go out and sell the bonds in what is known as a competitive bid bond sale. It's published in a paper known as the Bond Buyer. It's a national publication. On a certain date, a certain time, bids are received for the bonds. Under Michigan law, we could only accept the lowest bid. And we would make a recommendation to accept the lowest bid or reject all the bids based upon current market conditions. And then about 3 weeks later, the bond proceeds would be delivered to the township. And the bond proceeds would be held by the township and dispersed based upon, I assume it would be written that the fire authority would authorize or approve the payment and submit it to this board for approval. Approving it, I'm sorry. And then you would issue the check. They would be your bonds. You would be responsible, but we would have the contract between the authority and the township, making sure that the cost and everything are paid for. Steve, do you want to add anything?
No, that's a good overview. We're happy to drill down and answer the questions that you might have.
And Peter is in the audience too, so if you have any technical questions.
So what do you estimate the timeframe would be for this whole process?
Well, we could do it 90 days from the time you publish, but it is our understanding that the authority has not retained an architect yet. And obviously, we do not recommend you issue bonds without construction bids in hand. Because you don't want to issue too many bonds, and of course, you don't want to issue not enough, so you can't build a facility. So after they submit a package out for construction bids, we can sell the bonds within 75 to 90 days. You would have bond proceeds. The notice of intent, I didn't drill down on that. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it must state the maximum amount of bonds to be sold, the maximum interest rate that the bonds can sell for, and the maximum length that the bond issue can be, whether it be 10, 15, or 20. We always look to put a number that's higher. If this number is going to be 4 million, we'd probably recommend a neighborhood of 4.5 to 5 million. That means nothing in terms of the township's credit rating or the township's ability to finance in the future. That's just a number that is picked so that if construction bids come in at 4.2, we're not short. We also talk about longer. If they want 10 years, we might say 15, because if you sell the bonds, we'll say in February, but you have payments due in April or October, you might go 10 years and 9 months versus 9 years and 2 months. So you'd be shortening that up, and we just want that flexibility. When we talk about bond issues, we normally talk about increments of 5 years, but you can do them in increments of 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever. It doesn't have to be divisible by 5 years. The dollar amount has to be divisible by 5 years, not the. And then in that notice, you have to describe the project. So, you know, again, we would recommend that you adopt the notice sooner rather than later. Have the authority get the architect get construction bids, and then come back with a bond authorized resolution stating the amount of the bond issue. Then we would sell bonds and just be on our way.
So from a fiscal standpoint, do we think this would start this fiscal year, perhaps not till next year, I think July 1st.
Greg, except for
In my opinion, I'm in the last row so I can run. Would be this fiscal year. Interest rates up, down, but you know, projected to go down, to me, it would be prudent to do it this fiscal year.
And operationally, it's a good, that, Peter here also works for the fire district.
May I add one other reason?
Yeah.
The future is uncertain with what Douglas is going to do with their building. They may not want to wait 2 fiscal years. As you know, part of this project is buying existing structure. Obviously, cost savings, right? So they may not want to, they have no revenue coming in. It's a long investment to hold without any return.
Any more questions or? Okay.
It's possible for the public to vote down the bond initiative, is that correct?
Petition or?
The petition?
Yes, yeah, that's a very good point. So as Bobby said, there's this notice that goes in the newspaper, the 45-day referendum notice, and it's, if you have my procedure outline, that's step number 3. But what that does is it gives the residents and the electeds the information that the township intends to issue a bond for this project, the amount, terms, the period. And then registered electors and citizens would have a 45-day period to circulate a petition if they desire to force the question of issuing bonds on the ballot.
And we would adopt the notice prior to receiving the bids for the work, is that what you're recommending? That we get
Yes.
the notice out as soon as possible?
Yes, so we get the 45-day referendum out of the way.
Okay. I see what you're saying, okay.
Yeah, correct. And then the design work can continue while that 45 days is passing.
Excellent.
And then once you get construction bids, we come back to the township. And sell bonds.
Is it common for municipalities, constituents to circulate petitions and get that support and get it put on a ballot?
It's not very common, it's very rare. I'd say probably 2% of the financings we deal with, we see petitions. Usually it's a controversial project or some political unrest in the municipality.
If not all the money from the bond is spent, what happens to the remainder? Do we just hold on to it and we're able to use it to pay off the bond ahead of schedule, or?
Hopefully, that won't be the situation. And
Okay.
that's why we wait for construction bids to be
Yeah.
in before we issue bonds, because the
Okay.
bonds be issued on a tax bill basis.
Mhm.
So they're subject to the IRS code and various treasury regulations. And essentially, you don't want to end up with too many bond proceeds left over.
Mhm.
If you do, we recommend to go towards fire equipment or something at the station.
Okay,
Can't be used for operations. If for some reason there was a very large amount left over, technically you'd have to establish an escrow to prepay a portion of the bonds each year, which gets costly.
okay. So your recommendation is it all is spent?
Yes, spend procedure.
Well, we would size it, so we have construction bids, architect fees, professional fees. And probably, maybe a 5% contingency, so we would not be bonding for a big contingency of, we don't know what.
Mhm.
So that's, again, we wanna make sure that we're as close to that number as we can. I mean, obviously. You may not bid out furniture and fixtures until the building is close to completed, because. No one's gonna give you a bid, or you have nowhere to store this if they deliver it 60 days out. So you wait, and that's where maybe your contingency gets used, or if there's some change orders. But we would use a reasonable contingency. Normally, we look at 5%, unless there's some issues that maybe soil or something. But in most cases, we're at about 3 to 5%. So there's not a lot of money left over
Mhm.
if you never use contingencies.
Mhm. I imagine that we'll be working directly with you.
You were my team.
Perfect,
Yes,
excellent,
myself and an associate.
perfect. And then you all understand how the bond gets paid back, right? How the fire department pays us back? Through the millage? Okay. And we have done a bond before, it's been a little
Right.
bit, but we did do a bond for the infrastructure. On 66th Street. When we worked with Baker Tilly, but we worked with Andy Campbell, who's now at Benzinski.
So with that one, where are we in terms of the payoff period?
2 years into it, into a 10-year
It's two in.
SAD,
Okay.
and that was a lot small, that was under $1 million. Yeah.
You, on the special assessment bonds issued in 22,
Mm-hmm,
2000, you have 351,000 outstanding.
Okay,
so it's very small.
And then the only other thing you have outstanding, is $9,180 on warrant entry.
and in terms of the millage vote, would that be this November maybe? or-
The fire department does not have to put the raising of their millage up to a vote necessarily, as long as it's kept below a certain rate.
Oh, okay,
So they have the flexibility to increase their millage rate if necessary, up to 10 mils. There's a lot of space there.
so that would probably go on the November ballot.
No, it doesn't have
It
to.
doesn't have.
No, it's a board act,
Oh,
yes.
If we exceeded 10, then we would have to.
got it.
And from the township standpoint, there are two debt limits in the state of Michigan. One is 10% for all debt, and then there's the capital improvement debt limitation, which is 5%. And right now you have $41.7 million available. So a $4 million or even $5 million project would not hinder that, and it would not affect, at this point, given everything being equal, it wouldn't affect your credit rating at this point,
Okay, cool.
given everything is equal.
So if we had to do another big project that we'd pursue a bond for, there's still opportunity. It doesn't prevent us from doing that.
Right. Cool. So you're not, we wouldn't be here asking, we're very close.
Thank you for those numbers, that's so well.
Thank my staff.
They look good.
Rob, you were quite a list over there.
Oh, no, I'm okay. I guess, just, to take it a little bit away from financing, your understanding that the fire district is asking the township to support its pursuit of the construction of a station in the south of the township. And just kind of getting your feedback from that request, that this is something that aligns with your vision, this is something you're in support of, it's not something you're support of, I guess, kind of a discussion about what that means to you all.
I guess, Steve, Bobby, thank you. I think we can probably have a seat if nobody, and we may have more questions for you later. Thank you so much. Would
And I think you could,
would the trustees like to hear from Chief Janik about that? I know we've heard before, Stacey obviously has a lot of knowledge, but about the project in general and the value add to the community. Yes?
Sure.
Okay.
Can I ask a quick question of Mayor North? Just so me in on, where are you where is the city of Douglas in terms of?
In terms of the purchase?
Yeah.
Well, we're still negotiating,
Okay.
is that fair to say? Building, still negotiating the building.
We tried the dollar approach and it didn't work out.
$1.
That's like the state police.
Chief,
Well, good luck with
please,
that.
please fill us in.
Hi, I'm Greg Janik, your chief, also a township resident. I believe in this project. I believe we have to meet the current demands. We should be removed if we don't. Where's the growth? South and east. Before I became chief, I've heard from staff staff that have been there 30 years, we need something to the south. I was not in favor of that, as I'm sure my staff can attest to. I wasn't fond of building a station with sewer, septic and no water supply. M89, that area did not thrill me. Now we have an opportunity to save taxpayers money and meet the demands. That's the trigger here. For me, okay, my first 3 quotes for buildings were about $600 a square foot. You guys have done some extensive remodeling. It's not hard to go to $600 a foot. We were talking about project costs for this existing building at about 175 to 182 square foot. That's what it's about for the taxpayer. Now, we have to build a garage, let's call it a station. That's where we get into the potential $600 a foot. My recent hard cost that Bobby requested I get came in at about $338. So if we're going to do it, this is the opportunity to do it. I think also, we all speak of working together, collaboration. I can't think of a final project than what Lisa, the manager, and Douglas offered to us. I'm your partner. So I think it benefits not only the township, because that's where most of your property is, that's undeveloped, but Oval Beach, Oxbow area, the peninsula, and obviously Douglas. So this isn't just about the township, or it's certainly not about Douglas. You have an opportunity, we have an opportunity with the current marketplace the way it is and construction costs. That's why I urge you for this fiscal year. Everything costs more than you could possibly imagine. What I used to buy an engine for $350,000 is $1 million. I held off on replacing engines, much to the disappointment of my staff. However, I have to focus on what's best for my most important assets, my staff. And when you have 4 to 5 people sleeping in one office, you can't do that. The needs are, we went to 24 hours out of need. We have to have a minimum 4 staffing on, so next we have 7 on. So all this full circle, because I don't want to bore you, I don't want to be selling you anything. This makes sense from many perspectives. The need is there. When I joined the fire department in 2001, we did 400 calls a year. You'll be 1,100, 1,200 this year. Everything, we are the Swiss Army knife of municipal government. Hey, go get our horses there in downtown Douglas. You go to this, go pump out a pond and work your horses. We're in paper. So I guess succession planning, what are we gonna do? Strategic planning is essential in any government. And we've done that. What's the problem? Who can pay for it? And I think you found that just doing your inside remodel and then learning the numbers on exterior. Look what we have with housing costs. There's not a firefighter that's gonna move here, has not moved here in the last 5 years, is gonna move here in 10 years. We just priced ourselves right out of the housing market. So we need to accommodate firefighters, because our department is absorbing more and more services. Now we're the county drone team with 2 other fire departments. Speaking of collaboration. So for municipal government, for the 3 cities, I can't see how you could possibly not take a serious look at this as, hey, this could work. And I know it's a lot of money. Believe me, if I could find another way, I don't know what to do. I'm dealing with a station built in 1986, so it was built for 400 or 500 calls a year. I invite any of you to stay over the weekend. In your dorm room. And I think we would show you no. But I'm protective of my staff. I think they deserve better. This fire board has listened to everything and done everything they humanly can for our personnel, and I'll never forget that. But I do think for 3 cities, you need to look closely at what are we gonna do? Because there's no room to build where we're at. With restrictions, we don't even own some of the property. That's my sermon. Is there anything else I can answer for you?
No, touring the new building we're looking at, it just seems ideal. I mean, it's so almost, ready to expand. I mean, it's just such a great opportunity and I think we should do everything we can to help the process along.
And Douglas is, they're putting an extra wall in between the 2 buildings. I'm kidding. But they have welcomed us and been very supportive of this because it makes sense about the people we serve. It benefits them the most. And that's what I think we're here for. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, Dan. Anyone prepared, is there anyone else that that would like to talk about during this time? Fire board presentation or?
Not to my knowledge, if there's anybody who wants to talk either maybe from the fire board or, yeah, Jane.
So I didn't come prepared to speak, but, first of all, I want to thank you for considering partnering with us. This is very important to the fire board. The fire board, we've been on the fire board for 13 years now, and been its chair all 13 years. And I've seen our department grow and grow and grow and grow. And our building looks like hoarders live there now. It's just full of stuff. There's no place to move. There's no place to go. We're on top of each other. We need this new building. And, we need your support. This is a great municipal project for all of us. And it looks good to the public for all of us to work together. So, and I think we need that in these days too. So I want to thank you for helping us achieve our goals, because we can't do it.
Thank you, Jane.
Thanks, Shane.
What happens now? Well, we're not taking action.
Right, we don't take action, it's committee of the whole, correct?
Right. Yeah, and it's not, it's not up for a vote right now. I mean, the idea was that you all could hear this information, absorb it, understand the project, what's being asked of you. Thank you, Chief, for really highlighting the collaborative nature of this project. I mean, it's really a lot of entities in our community, exercising that forward thinking, which we greatly value. So Douglas, with the forward thinking to purchase this new municipal really kind of campus that could house other services, the fire district recognizing the opportunity that exists at that site, the importance of servicing the south of the community, especially knowing that if anything were to happen on the bridge, emergency services would be cut off from the south. So understanding the limitations of our community's geography, where the growth patterns are. I mean, I think that it's really, the fact that the project itself is incredibly commendable. I also think that it speaks a lot to this body, the fact that the fire district felt comfortable and that we were the right entity to come to partner with, to make it happen. I think that there's been a lot of intentional work on behalf of this board to show the community that we are willing to invest in the community, that we want to support collaboration, and that we want to be perceived as leaders in the community and someone, you know, a body that listens and gets things done. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity with this project. You know, from a staff perspective, we've done a bond before. I'm very confident in our financial department. I think that this is something that we can take on. So it's just a matter of kind of getting a sense for you that, yes, you'd like me to move forward with preparing that bond notice and that we can bring it to another board meeting and vote on it and get that going. So the fire district can get moving on getting a bid for their plans.
Okay. So you would want a general consensus, not action taken to prepare the bond notice, and then we would take final action on that at a different meeting?
That's correct.
Yes, okay.
So will this item still be on tomorrow night's agenda?
No, it's not on tomorrow's night's agenda. It was just.
Discussion for today.
It's a discussion for today, get a general feel about where you all are and if you would like me to prepare that notice for a vote at a later meeting.
Well, I for one would like to say I would, yes.
Yes.
I think we all would.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, so then we'll be working with all of you and preparing that bond notice for a vote by the township board. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see you again.
Should we all?
Of course, you all are welcome to. Yeah, we all have lives to live, so you may excuse yourself. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you.